So you're on the set of Labyrinth, right? Now that has like one of the all-time great icons of entertainment. David Bowie is the centerpiece in that. So you got Jim Henson, yourself, and David Bowie, right? Bowie's the third credit after you on that movie, I think.
Something like that. Or
Something,
yeah.
third or fourth. Well, I mean, now Bowie obviously, there's interesting perceptions about him, but here you are doing a Muppet movie that was basically centered around a fantasy universe, and Bowie's playing like the villain. Like you show up for work and there's David Bowie, right? Like how does that go down? And he's like pointing to you, he's pointing to you, going, "I finally get to work with Mike Quinn. I've been waiting for this moment professionally my entire life."
The thing is, David Bowie was, and this is my memory of him anyway. He's just like a regular guy. He was actually very down to earth, and sort of he'd come in with his cigarettes and hang out with the lighting guys or whoever. Say, "All right, lads, how's it going? You're right," and he's kind of a bit like that, really. Just had kind of a good laugh with us all. So he was very down to earth. He didn't fall to earth, but he was. So he's very easy to get along with and very approachable. There was one time though where I might have been a bit naughty. You know what? In contrast to what I just said about wasting time on set and film, and all that, here's the opposite side of that, where I actually did do something naughty. It was the scene where the Goblin King first arrives in the bedroom to steal Toby. And so it's the first encounter between Jareth and Sarah, Jennifer Connelly. It's their first big, scene together, basically. It's kind of an important thing and a big dramatic moment. However, and so we were all rigged up in the room with goblins coming out of the drawers and cupboards and the bed and all that kind of thing. We all, waiting for our cue to pop up and and laugh and scurry away, So the whole set was rigged up with about, 10 of us in there doing all this stuff. However, back in the 1960s, David Bowie did this novelty song called Laughing Gnome, and some may know it and some may not, with a sped up voice, before he was big, So I got the sound guy to play that on set the minute he burst through the doors in the bedroom, and then we'd all pop up and we'd all start singing it and things. And sure enough, we did that. And I thought, oh my goodness me, I'm going to get fired for this. I'm going to be in so much trouble. There's Jim Henson directing, there's Bowie, there's Jennifer Connelly, and it's like, oh, I'm wasting all this time just for the sake of a gag, basically. However, Jim being Jim, laughed. He had a big grin on his face and chuckled and laughed. He didn't know what was going on. He wasn't in on it. And David Bowie sort of, had a laugh and a nod. And I think Jennifer was like, "What is that song?" She wouldn't have known what it was or anything. But we got away with it. Everyone settled down and we did the take. And nobody was fired and nobody was reprimanded that I know of anyway. So there you go. So yeah, that sort of answers your question, doesn't it?
Well, I would hope that ends up on like special features someplace.
I know if the camera was rolling, either video or film was rolling, you'd think it might be somewhere.
So, like Bowie around the craft service table, like he got the movie, right? He understood it. He obviously respected Jim Henson, or he wouldn't have been a part of it to begin with.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, no, he was great. I mean, we'd have we'd watch the dailies in the viewing theater from the day before, the rushes, and sometimes David would come in and look in, and in the back there, and he'd still have his, hadn't come out of his costume yet, and he'd still have his what he called his Tina Turner wig, as he called it, So he made light of it all, but he was a very hard worker. I mean, literally, he was. There was one point during the movie where he was doing Labyrinth in the daytime, and then he'd drive to, I think it was Shepperton Studios at night to do Absolute Beginners at the same time. Where he's singing on that big giant typewriter. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
So he was doing that at night, my goodness me, he's a clever guy. He was a smart cookie, that David Bowie, let me tell you.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about the man's intelligence. When you guys are doing a musical act, though, don't you guys have to rehearse? Like, he's got to break down where his movements are going to go, and all of you puppeteers.
Yeah, we had a choreographer, Charles Ogle, choreographed us all. and him especially, and we rehearsed, and like for the dance magic dance number, I remember that taking about a week to do, thereabouts. It was quite complicated, just all the different rigs and repositioning puppets, taking up bits of flooring, people being on wires being flown up and down, and because a human baby as well. Yeah, so,
dude, at that point, Mike, you're in a David Bowie video, basically.
Well, actually, even after that, I was in 2 of the videos, because they made 2 actual music videos afterwards to promote the film. One was Underground, and the other was, I think it was As the World Falls Down, or I forget what the other one was. One was with Hoggle, so I was working like Hoggle's eyebrows or something. But in the Underground music video, it was directed by Steve Barron, who directed the pilot for The Storyteller. But also Steve Barron was known for, well, I think he direct the first turtle film, mutant turtle film? I think he did, didn't he?
I think he did.
But also he directed Money for Nothing as well. The Dire Straits. Wasn't it like the first ever music video to be shown on MTV or something? So he directed these, and I got to perform some goblins, but also the Junk Woman, because Karen Prell wasn't available to perform Junk Woman on the music video, so I got to do that with David Bowie in an actual official David Bowie music video. So that was sweet. Yeah.
Your road to redemption is paved with tombstones. No quarter, kill all masters. Go to noquarterkillallmasters.com. Rated R.